I thought I'd do a long-term review on one of these Sunfire heaters. I've had this one for about 4 years now, and I actually got it out because I got to fix an issue with it. I got it out, I put it away at the end of the year. Everything was working perfect, and then I got it out. Of course, everybody was in the barn, we were hanging out, and I turned it on, and this thing was just nothing but clouds of smoke. Go figure, because when I put it away, everything was fine. So I think I need to change the nozzle out on it. So I'll show you guys how to do that, and as I'm doing that, we'll talk about the heater and what I found with it. We're going to start by taking this control panel open and take these bolts out. Just two 10 millimeters. The panel just opens up like so. You're going to see on top of the electronics here, you can get a Phillips screwdriver down in here and loosen this little tab. There's one on each side. You can move that tab out of your way. So do them both. Move them out of the way. This will flip open. Here's your two electrodes right here. And this line right here runs to your fuel injector. So just set that down for now. You got it where you can open it. Now you need to take these 4 bolts out of this flange. 13 millimeter fits it well enough. This heater's been pretty decent. Like I said, I've had it for about 4 years now. They're not the cheapest heaters in the world, and I don't see a lot of review things on them. I like it. It's been a pretty good heater. I've never had a problem with it to this point. They do hold a lot of fuel. They give off good heat. It's not as quiet as I thought it would be. Surprisingly, it is a bit louder, but it is definitely quieter than a torpedo heater, so I guess pick your poison. The nice thing about it, and one of the big reasons I bought it, is I got tired of my eyes getting burnt by those torpedo heaters. You could run them on special fuels, which are kind of pricey. You could run it on kerosene, which is a pain to find, and it's not the cheapest fuel either. I have diesel around here for the farm, so I just wanted something that would run cleanly on diesel. And this is the ticket. When it runs right on diesel fuel, you can't smell it. You could heat your house with this thing and you wouldn't even know. As a matter of fact, for my buddy's wedding reception, we had a big 3-car garage where all the guests were in. Everybody was all dressed up nice and whatnot. And we heated that in the wintertime with this. And you wouldn't want to do that with a torpedo heater most likely, because everybody, they'd stink. It would probably burn the guest's eyes and make your clothes smell like diesel fuel. This thing, clean as could be. There's no smell. It was pleasant. It was quiet enough. People could talk and do their things, It didn't drown out the music. So overall, it's a good heater. I do like it. Alright, so in the book, if you have the manual for it, it does tell you to do this. I didn't the first time I took this apart. I tried to clean the injector. Didn't work out. I took a lot more apart than I needed, so let me save you the trouble. These 2 bolts right here have to come out. The book doesn't say anything about it, so I'll save you the trouble there, but these 2 right here do have to come out. The one thing that's really nice about this heater is the infrared kind of heat rather than it blowing like a torpedo heater. So if you're out working on a tractor or something in the wintertime and you're pointing at the tractor, it tends to heat up the whole machine because it kind of soaks into it. I do like that. It doesn't just make one point really hot, it just kind of slowly heats everything. The fuel capacity is really nice, and it is built stout enough. It's not bad to take it down the road. You throw it in the back of your truck, and it doesn't rattle itself apart. The cover on here is just sheet metal screws. That kind of sucks, because I did take it off at one point, and if you put the screws back in, they really strip out very easily. Not too impressed with that part. The newer ones do come with the fuel filter heater. This one has that. I think the prior ones to this didn't have it though, the real older style. All right, so you got these 2 bolts out, you got these 4 out, you got this cover loose back here. What you gotta do now is, well, I guess it doesn't matter which one you do next, but you gotta take these 3 screws out of this little shield. That's just a 1/4 inch. You don't even have to take them out, just loosen them, because this is a slotted hole. You'll notice it if you're into this point. Which if you have one of these heaters, eventually you're gonna have to do it. As a matter of fact, the spare parts that come with it is a fuel filter and a new nozzle. I wish I would have just changed it the first time I had it out. Don't try and clean them. You can't get them clean. At least I couldn't. The hole's so small in that nozzle, you can't even get a little piece of copper wire in there, nothing to clean it. I blew it out with compressed air and soaked it and put it back in. If you got it open, just change the nozzle. So this little cone slides right out. Now you need to take your fuel line, which is this guy right here. Kind of hang on to stuff, you got it all loose now. And loosen that out of there. It's copper line, so you can just bend it back just a little bit. Don't get crazy. Nice pair of pliers, take out this little retaining nut. Now before I cleaned this injector, it was a lot dirtier than what you saw in that video. This thing drove us right out of the barn right away. And I set it outside and let it run for a good half hour, and it never got any better. Okay, now, something you notice about this. It looks like this, and the other side looks like this. It needs to go on, back on, like this. So the part that's bored out faces out, because that fitting has to screw into here. That gives it room. Otherwise, you're not going to get enough thread on there. Fuel's going to shoot everywhere. Ask me how I know. Open your cover back up. Just kind of work that out. And now you have to fish this whole assembly out. What you can do is you can push it back into the burner assembly, twist it up, and just carefully work it out. Try not to rip this gasket up here if you can help it. So we want to get the nozzle out of there. The electrodes are in the way. You can fit a socket on this, but not with the electrodes in the way. Kind of take note of where them electrodes are, so you can put it back roughly where it was before. You're going to loosen. You're going to loosen this bolt right here. Just get it loose. Now you can take your electrodes and spin them out of the way. So now you can get to that injector. Tighten them back up just snug so they don't spin on you. Grab this thing nice and tight. Try not to put all the strain on the porcelain for these electrodes, because they are brittle. You'll break them. Try and squeeze the metal bracket if you can. Give that a good squeeze. And then it's going to be a 5/8 socket. You're going to want to use an impact because it's going to make it easier. If you have to, you could probably clamp in a vise between here and here. But if you get a good hold on it, socket, it'll come right out. So this right here is your injector assembly. Here's the brand new injector that comes with it. 0.85. Super tiny hole on that. Focus camera, come on. Very, very tiny hole. I couldn't even get a little piece of copper wire in there off a wire. Screw it in. Just snug. Don't go crazy. That's all you need. Now pay attention to your electrodes. If you don't know, take a picture before, take some measurements if you need. You don't have to be dead on. I like to have these protrude just slightly ahead of the nozzle. Right about there. You like to face them with each other. Like that. Spin them down just a little more, so that way they get some of that stream. That's about perfect right there. I did wreak a little havoc on this gasket, as you can see. It's gonna be okay. Should just flop it out of the way for now, or slide it off just to conserve what I have left of it. Be patient, don't force it, don't bend anything. You will get it. You haven't disturbed anything else, so it's really only going to go back in one way. There you go. Looks good, didn't beat nothing up too bad. Put your retaining nut back in there the way I told you. That'll hold it all in place as you're putting it back together. Snug her back up. Don't forget about your cone. Don't get crazy about these either, because they are just sheet metal screws. There's not much that holds this together. Kind of a nice thing about this heater is this is kind of a standard setup for like the fuel oil furnaces for a home. Really, a lot of these parts are not hard to come by. You can get them all over the place. It's not really something that's going to become discontinued on you because there's so many of them out there. Now, take your raggedy old gasket that you beat the heck out of. Put it back in there the best you can. As long as you got it all the pieces there, you can form it back together. It will seal fine. Don't worry about it. And now back together with it. Start your top nut. Now it'll hold itself together. I won't bore you with me putting all these back on. Worst bolts to put in are these short guys in the back of this panel. I swear you gotta do a special little dance or something to get them both in there. Got them in. I spared you the dance. There was a little dance you gotta do. It's not in the book. I don't know if it's a rain dance. I guess we'll find out in the next couple days if it starts raining a lot. But yeah, once you get them in, hard part's over. I thought about making this kind of more of an immersive video where, you know, I tell you to hold the flashlight and I just yell obscenities at you the whole time. Kind of like a nice father-son experience. But I spared you from that. So, you know, leave a like on the video because I did that for you. Okay, done. Now, I didn't tell you this, but leave these kind of loose when you're trying to put those back two in. Otherwise, you're never going to get it, no matter how many rain dances you do. It's never going to go. Don't get crazy about these. I guess any of these really. None of these are real heavy bolts, so don't be a barbarian about it. Nothing left to do but reconnect your fuel line. I lied, you gotta tighten the screws of this cover first. But we're almost there. Keep in mind, when I start this, it's probably gonna give a puff of smoke still because this whole line, that whole fuel line to the injector, there's nothing but air in there. So it's gotta purge all that. and whatever leftover residue and stuff that's in this barrel's got to burn out, because it was not burning well. Magnetic screwdriver helps. You can kind of grab that tab, and then you can flip it back onto the cover. So now you can tighten it down. Same thing for the other side. Now you're done. Close your cover up. You can put your bolts back in, but do not put away all your tools. If you get confident and think you fixed it and put all your tools away, it ain't gonna work. That's some old experience I can give you there. I might not give you much, but I can give you that. I'm sure she's gonna give a puff of smoke. Don't pay no mind. And contact. Not really much of anything. There's no odor there either. Now that's nice. I should have did that the first time. Well, get what you pay for. Keep in mind what you pay for this device.